Delia Crane went missing 11 years ago, on the night before she turned 18. There was nothing remarkable about that Friday, which is what made it unbearable later. She'd gone to school, then to her shift at the diner on Route 9, and come home smelling of fryer grease and cold air. Her friends would all say the same thing in the weeks that followed. She had seemed lighter than usual, almost giddy, the way a person gets when they have decided something in secret and have not yet told anyone. She spent that evening on the couch with her little brother Theo, who was 6 and far more excited about her birthday than she was. He begged to stay up until midnight to be the first to say it. He lasted until the second movie before his head dropped against her arm. Sometime in the dark, Theo woke. He never could say what woke him, but he remembered the light, twin beams sweeping across his bedroom ceiling and sliding down the wall as a car pulled out of the drive and turned onto the county road. He watched the red taillights shrink to nothing in the fields. He was too young to know he was watching his sister leave for the last time. For years afterward, he would lie awake doing the arithmetic that ruins children. What he had done, what he had failed to do, why she hadn't woken him to say goodbye. No one realized anything was wrong until the morning. Marlene Crane went in to wake her daughter with a kiss and found the bed cold, the phone dark, the car gone. By noon, they had called every name in Delia's life and come up with nothing. By evening, her little Corolla had been found 3 miles out, nosed into the weeds on a wooded stretch of Sadler Road, pointed the wrong way down a lane that led nowhere in particular. No skid marks, no blood, no bag. Just a girl's car sitting empty under the trees as if she had simply stepped out of her own life and kept walking. The Cranes traced that road on a map, and the road told a story. Delia had a boyfriend, Cole, a year older, who had gone off to the state college that fall. He'd been pestering her to visit. Her parents had forbidden it. But if she had gone anyway, Sadler Road was exactly the road she'd have taken to reach him. So Gerald Crane drove the 2 hours to the campus himself while his wife sat in the kitchen filing a report. Cole swore he hadn't seen her in weeks, that he'd been studying in his dorm that night, and his roommate backed him up before going home for the weekend. The detectives found a few of Delia's hairs in the boy's car, which proved nothing except that she'd ridden in it. Still, it rattled him into admitting he'd taken her on a midnight drive the weekend before. It sounded precisely like the night she vanished. They could never tie the two together. Cole was cleared. The Cranes never accepted it. Gerald sat outside that dorm for 3 nights running, watching for a daughter who never appeared, until the boy's family threatened charges and a sheriff's deputy, an old hunting friend of Gerald's, quietly talked him down with a warning he didn't much heed. The case went cold the way they all do, by inches, week after week of silence, until the town stopped asking and only the family was left standing in the cold draft of not knowing. They wondered if she was out there somewhere, alive, waiting to come home. And now, after 11 years gone, Delia Crane was finally coming home. That's what I told the Cranes anyway. I had no idea what happened to that girl. I'm not proud of it. I want that on the record before I tell you the rest, for whatever it's worth, which is nothing. I was 27, and I'd been coming apart for a long time. No address, a pack a day. I'd worked out a routine where I'd let some man at a bar buy my drinks in my company, take whatever cash he left in his coat, and spend it down the road doing the same thing over again. It wasn't a life. It was a loop I kept feeding, and I was running out of road. I saw her on the notice board in the lobby of a motel I was passing through, one of those laminated missing flyers gone soft and curling at the corners. There were 5 or 6 girls pinned up there, gone from one nowhere town or another, but Delia stopped me where I stood. Blonde hair parted straight, a wide, easy smile, pale eyes that seemed to look right at the camera and forgive it. She looked like me, not just similar, but truly like me. I could have slid one of my own school photographs into that frame and no one would have blinked. Not that anyone was looking. The woman behind the desk caught me staring and said softly, "They don't come home, hon." I just never had the heart to take him down. I dug out the old phone I kept dead at the bottom of my bag, found the motel's free signal, and read about Delia Crane until 2 in the morning. I learned she'd been 2 years younger than me when she vanished. I learned there were dozens of photographs of her online, and in every one, she could have been my sister. I'd love to tell you I cared about what happened to her. I didn't. What I noticed were the earrings she wore in her senior portrait, the pearls around her mother's neck at the press conference, the watch on her father's wrist, the shape of the house behind them in the news footage, wide and white, set alone in a sea of corn. The Cranes had money, a real, comfortable, oblivious amount of it. I lit a cigarette outside in the dark and made up my mind. One of those girls was coming home, and it was going to be me. It's frightening, the lies you'll tell yourself to stay the hero of your own story. I told myself I'd been meaning to head back toward the city anyway, that the Crane place was barely out of my way, that I'd only stay one night, slip in, take what fits in a backpack, slip out before the cameras come. I'd begged the family to give me a single day before they told anyone, just one night to sleep in my own bed before the town descended. That would buy me the head start I needed. By the time anyone thought to doubt me, I'd be 3 states gone. I paid for the bus with most of what I had left and felt no fear at all, which should have frightened me more than anything. The station, when I arrived, looked like it had been dropped into that town by mistake. Clean and modern among the boarded storefronts and a body shop with a dog chained out front. I spotted a bar across the road, its sign already lit, though the afternoon hadn't faded, and I wanted a drink the way you want air. I didn't let myself. I couldn't risk a conversation. I couldn't risk being recognized as the town's most famous ghost before I'd even reached the door I meant to haunt. So when an old man drifted up to me outside the station, I nearly bolted. He only wanted a cigarette, said his car had thrown a belt and he was stranded in this armpit of the earth until the shop could get the part. I gave him one to make him go. He talked anyway, about his late wife, about how I resembled his granddaughter down in Tennessee. He asked my name. I told him, Casey. It wasn't. He told me his name was Walt and shook my hand like we'd struck a bargain. When I finished my cigarette, I wished him luck and walked off down a street called Bell Avenue. And somewhere between one streetlight and the next, I stopped being myself and became a girl who'd been dead to her family for 11 years. The Cranes lived at the far end of nothing. The house stood alone in the flat gold sweep of the fields, the nearest neighbor only a blur on the horizon, and I understood right then a little of why a girl might run. But the house itself was lovely, gabled and rambling, with a deep wraparound porch and a covered pool out back wearing a skin of fallen leaves. Farther off in the field sat a white gazebo strung with paper lanterns and faded bunting, hanging baskets gone leggy along its rails. It did not look like a place where anything terrible had ever happened. I climbed the porch steps and startled at my own reflection in the glass of the front door. My nerve wavered there for the first time. What if my hair wasn't fair enough in this light? What if Delia had some scar, some birthmark I'd missed? I was sweating under the stolen coat when the door opened, and Marlene Crane stood there in a cardigan, holding a dish towel, mildly puzzled by a stranger on her step. "Hello," she said. Then the color left her face all at once, as if something had been switched off inside her. Her hands flew to her mouth. The sound she made wasn't quite a word. She lunged and wrapped both arms around me, around the backpack and all, holding tighter than I'd have allowed anyone, sobbing into my shoulder. And the only thought I had, the only one, was that the dog at her feet was barking its head off. and that I'd hate to be ruined by an animal that didn't know my scent. "Marlene?" A man's voice from inside. Then Gerald Crane filled the hall, his shirt tucked into his jeans, and when he saw my face over his wife's shoulder, he went still as a fence post. "It can't be," he said. His gray mustache trembled. The dog kept barking, reminding me that I was a thief in a stranger's doorway. I made myself smile. "I'm home, Daddy." I was trying to cry. If Marlene had squeezed me much harder, I might have managed it. Something passed across the old man's face, some hinge giving way, and he came forward and took me out of his wife's arms and into his own, and held on like he was afraid I'd dissolve. "My girl," he breathed against my hair. "My girl came home." Inside, he took my coat. I let him, though I could smell the bar on it, and I had to school my face not to gape at the high ceilings and the wall of books and the marble fireplace big enough to stand in. None of it was supposed to surprise me. This was supposed to be the house I grew up in. I'd nearly jumped when Gerald threw the bolt behind me and keyed a code into a panel by the door. It chimed. I wondered whether the alarm had always been there, or whether it had grown out of a daughter slipping into the night and never coming back. One of Delia's coats still hung on a hook beside it, untouched after 11 years. The stranger's coat I'd worn now hung beside hers. That's when I saw the boy. He stood at the top of the stairs, both hands on the rail, looking down at me with an expression I couldn't read. Theo Crane was 17 now, the same age his sister had been when she disappeared. Taller than I'd expected, all wrists and elbows, with the same baby face he must have had at 6. His pale eyes searched mine, and they did not find what they were looking for. "Theo, look," Marlene wept. "Look who's home. Come hug your sister." I wanted to be sick. The boy came down slowly, one step at a time, and we performed something shaped like an embrace and let go. "Hey you," I said, because I didn't know what she would have called him, and neither did anyone else now. Gerald herded us all into a great open room with a piano in one corner, and the family's whole history climbing the wall in framed school portraits. And I followed Delia's face up the years, hers and not hers, until I reached the gap where the last one should have been. We sat. Marlene pressed herself against my side and kept touching me, a hand on my back, a brush of my hair, as if to confirm I was solid. I shrugged her off once without thinking, and the look on her face nearly undid me. It was Gerald who finally cleared his throat. "Let me say first," he said, "that we're not angry." Marlene nodded along, fierce. "We only want to understand. What happened to you?" Something turned over in my chest. If my own father had once looked at me with a fraction of that softness, I might never have run at all. Instead, he'd called me a liar and worse, and taken his brother's side against me. My uncle's side. I dropped my eyes. "I felt like I couldn't breathe here," I said. "I had to get out. I never wanted to hurt anyone. I just didn't know what else to do." It wasn't much of a performance. It didn't need to be. I only needed to last until I could lift a few of the bright things we'd passed on the way to this room. Gerald gazed off somewhere past me. "All right," he said, and somehow it was worse than anything else he could have said. I had walked into this house intending to rob it, but instead I ended up teaching these people to blame themselves. He clapped his hands suddenly, scattering the silence. "I've got an idea. Marlene, go on into town and pick up what we need for those sandwiches she likes. I'll start in on the rest. Tonight, it's just us. One night, as a family, before the whole world comes knocking." He looked at me with his eyebrows up, as if I should know exactly what he meant, and I nodded as if I did. "And you," he said to me, gently. Go on up and rest. You look worn through. Your room's just how you left it. It was going better than I dared hope. There was a crystal vase across the room that would fit in my bag, beside a framed jersey signed by a name I'd never heard. I was already deciding which to take. Marlene kissed the side of my head and rose to go, then caught Theo's eye and made a small tipping gesture toward her mouth. The boy said flatly, "Already took them." He glanced at me, and what was in his face wasn't grief, or wasn't only grief. We scattered. Gerald to the kitchen, Marlene out the door, and I followed Theo up the stairs, pleased, until I realized I had no idea which room was Delia's, and that a girl gone 11 years would still know her own door in the dark. At the top, the hallway ran long and narrow past 4 shut doors. I was bracing to guess when the boy stopped at the first one and threw me a line without knowing it. "Hey," he said, awkward, every word costing him. "You want to watch something? Like we used to?" It took me a second to understand. The last thing they had done together was watch movies on the couch, the night she left. "Sure," I said. "I'm not ready to see my room yet anyway." His room surprised me. Spare and tidy, the bed made tight, the walls bare except for a single window that framed the dying sun over the fields. From it, you could see the covered pool, and just past it, the right-hand curve of that white gazebo with its sagging lanterns. I heard the lock turn behind me. "We have to go," Theo whispered. "Now." The neutral mask he'd worn all evening fell away, and underneath it was raw terror. He grabbed a sweater from his closet, cursing under his breath, fumbling. "What are you talking about?" I said. "He knows. He's known the whole time." My mind was already running the angles, but there was no angle. I was caught. Except it wasn't my lie he was afraid of. That was what froze me. His fear was about something else entirely. "He killed her," the boy said. "He killed Delia. He buried her." The floor seemed to tilt. That wasn't in anything I'd read. Like everyone else, I'd been certain it was the boyfriend. How could you possibly know that? He grabbed my arm and dragged me to the glass. "Look!" His finger jabbed at the gazebo. "He built that right after she went missing. We're not allowed near it. He calls it his garden. I climbed it once when I was 10, and he beat me bloody. And I've watched him out there at night, digging, watering, fixing the dirt. And then there's this." He wrenched a drawer open, fished something out, and pressed it into my hand. It was a child's beaded bracelet, the elastic gone slack, the little plastic letters spelling Delia. "The dog dug it up last spring," Theo said, his voice cracking. "Dropped it right at my feet. I remember it. I remember her wearing it that night." I turned it over and over, hunting for some way it wasn't true. "You saw her drive off," I said. "I saw her car drive off." There was a small, flat voice in me insisting the boy was sick, was making patterns out of grief. But the other voice, the one that believed him, was much louder and far more afraid. "Then why haven't you gone to the police?" "Because I can't." Too loud, he caught himself. "He's friends with the sheriff. A cruiser pulls into that drive and he kills all of us. If I run, he kills my mom. And she wouldn't even believe me." His breath was coming in short jerks. He swallowed 2 pills dry from a bottle by the bed. "If we go downstairs, we're already dead. We were dead the second you walked up to that door. Tomorrow, this place is going to be full of cops and cameras, whether you're here or not. They could find her. I could tell them. and the second he feels it closing in, he'll do what he did to her, only to all of us, and then to himself. He'd rather die than be caught. So we go, out the window, now. Whether the boy was right or out of his mind no longer mattered. I wanted out of that house with everything in me. Outside, the sun was nearly down. "There's a bus," I said. "It's how I got here, a couple of miles that way." "I know where it is. We stay off the roads, use the corn for cover, then..." A knock. "Theo?" Gerald at the door was trying the handle. "Everything all right in there?" The boy was at the window before I'd moved, hauling it up. Down the hall, faintly, the alarm panel chimed. The handle rattled harder. "What's going on in there? Open this door." Then the pounding started. We went out onto the roof and across the porch's low overhang, dropped to the lawn. I'd have fallen if Theo hadn't caught my coat. We ran. Behind us, a crash boomed from inside the house. I looked back once and saw Gerald's shape fill the broken window. He shouted something. Then he was gone. A rifle cracked across the field, flat and enormous in all that open air. My legs nearly folded. I didn't understand yet that I'd been hit. Another crack, and I went down hard behind the gazebo, a searing wire pulling tight along my side. I grasped the lattice, my pulse beating against the wood, and looked back to see Gerald disappear into the garage and his wife round the corner of the house with grocery bags in her arms, screaming his name. And I thought of the girl beneath my feet, of a body no one had ever found, a story sealed under earth and silence forever. I thought of my own story, the thing my uncle did, the thing my father struck me for saying out loud. I thought, I will not let this one stay buried too. I had the lighter in my pocket. I touched the flame to the lowest lantern and to the bunting and to the dry hanging baskets, and the fire took faster than I'd dreamed, climbing the lattice in a sheet, racing along the eaves. I pulled back and watched it bloom orange against the bruised purple sky. Somewhere, a truck engine roared. Gerald was coming. I made one last run for the boy, who was waving me on from the roadside, and he caught my hand and pulled me across the lane and into the corn just as headlights swung onto it behind us. We pushed deep into the rows and went still. The stalks closed over us, taller than either of us, whispering. The truck idled out on the road. A door slammed. "What are you doing with my son?" Gerald called, almost singing it. We heard his boots in the gravel, then in the dirt, swishing through the outer rows. "Where are you?" Closer, then farther, then a long, terrible pause. Then the door again, and the engine howling away down the lane. We didn't move until there was nothing but wind. In the distance, the fire had grown into a tower of light, smoke rolling black against the last of the sky. And then the sirens came, rising, and at last screaming past us toward the house. "They'll find her," I said, low, more to myself than to him. "Then you'll be safe." "What if they don't?" the boy said. I had no answer he'd have wanted. We came out of the corn at the edge of town, into the wash of the streetlights, and I could breathe again for the length of one block. We kept our heads down past the dark storefronts. Only the bar was lit, men smoking outside it and arguing about nothing. The bus station's lights were still on, and for a moment, I was almost glad. "Incoming only tonight, folks," the man behind the counter said. "Next outbound's the morning. Sorry." I was already walking out. The boy caught up. "What are we supposed to do?" "I don't know," I said, and I heard how cruel it sounded and couldn't stop it. "Come with me or don't. I'm leaving." He stood in the doorway, a kid with nowhere on earth to go, and for the first time I saw him clearly. Not a conspirator, but a 17-year-old boy I had pulled out a window into the night. The same child who'd watched 2 red taillights vanish into the fields 11 years before. I was 27, and I felt exactly as helpless as I had at his age, hoping someone bigger would come and make me safe. "I'm sorry," I said. "I just want to go home." And the terrible thing was that I meant it. Then I understood that he had no home left to go to. If my fire failed, he'd be exactly what I was, on the run, alone, homeless at 17. He came apart against me, a head taller and shaking, and I held him. Not the way I'd held his father and mother, hollow and performing. The other way. "Excuse me!" I almost ran before I saw the face. It was the old man from the station, crossing from the body shop's lot, his own face creasing in recognition. "Hey, it's you! Casey, wasn't it? Everything all right over here?" The boy and I looked at each other. An idea came to me. "Actually, no, sir. We're stuck, same as you were." Walt's face cleared. "Well, hell, car's all fixed. I'm pulling out now if you two want a lift. Where are you headed?" "Anywhere," I said. "West, as far as you're going." His smile dimmed, just slightly, but he only nodded. "West it is." We climbed into his old wagon, the boy folding himself into the back, me in front. I thanked Walt until he asked me to stop. I offered him gas money, and he wouldn't take it. He told the silent, hollow-eyed boy in his mirror that his name was Walt and that he was happy for the company. And then he let the silence be. The headlights carved a narrow tunnel out of the dark. Beyond them, there was nothing at all. The boy fell asleep somewhere around the 2nd hour, his breathing finally easing. "None of my business, young lady," Walt said, low under the radio. "But are you two sure you're all right?" "We're fine," I said. My mind was still back on Bell Avenue, watching an imagined reel. The fire trucks, the smoking ruin, the men in their gear stepping carefully into the scorched garden and stopping at whatever the earth gave up. "You'll at least tell me your real name?" Walt asked. We had given this kind man nothing but lies for half a day, and all he wanted was one true thing, maybe to make sense of the strange charity he'd done. I looked down at my hands and saw the beaded bracelet still on my wrist, the little letters of a dead girl's name flashing in the streetlights. D-E-L-I-A. I thought about how easy it would be to give it to her, to say her name into the dark and let her, finally, be the one who got away, to hand her the ending she'd wanted for herself. "Nora," I said instead. "Nora." He nodded, content. "Real nice to meet you, Nora." I felt sick that I'd lied to him about my name again. He drove us another hour and dropped us at a sagging bed and breakfast where I'd grown used to surviving. At the door, he pressed a folded bill into my palm. Not much, but more than I'd ever take from someone who had nothing himself, and was gone before I could refuse. The boy and I slept head to toe in one narrow bed beside a rattling air conditioner. I wouldn't have slept anyway. In the morning, I stepped out for a cigarette and savored every draw of it, and told myself I'd quit tomorrow. We went down to the little dining room where a few guests murmured over coffee, and a television above the bar played the morning news. I wanted a table in the corner. The boy wanted to sit beneath the screen. He was sick with worry for his mother, and I couldn't begrudge him that. We ordered. The food came, and there was something in the smell of bacon and toast that could almost make a person forget they were running for their life. I saw the boy's shoulders loosen as he ate. I let myself believe, for the length of a meal, that it had worked. Then the picture on the screen changed. Authorities responded last night to a fire at a property well known to this community, the anchor was saying. The childhood home of Delia Crane. The boy went rigid. My fork stopped halfway to my mouth. Missing since 2014, Delia Crane's disappearance haunted the small town of Halford for more than a decade. When her car was found abandoned near the river just miles from her home, hope gave way to grief. Her fate was never known until last night. It cut to a sheriff at a cluster of microphones, plain-faced under the camera lights. Crews responded to a structure fire on the Crane property around 5 p.m. The fire was contained to an outbuilding, a gazebo. In the course of clearing the scene, responders discovered a concealed entrance beneath it, leading to an underground room. He paused. Inside that room, we recovered the remains of a young woman and a small child. The boy made a sound I'd never heard a person make. We have confirmed the woman to be Delia Crane. We have no further details at this time. I couldn't feel my hands. Beneath it, a room. 11 years buried in the cold ground, and there should have been so little left to find. And a child. It is the early belief of investigators, the sheriff went on, and I watched his mouth move and knew, in the half-second before he said it, exactly what was coming. That Delia Crane had been held in that room since the night she disappeared. That she had been alive. Both she and the child died last night of smoke inhalation resulting from the fire. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Delia's mother, Marlene Crane, is cooperating with the police. Federal authorities are searching for her father, Gerald, and her younger brother, Theo, both currently missing. If you have any information... The boy turned to me, his eyes enormous, his breath coming in those short, breaking gasps. "They found her," he said. "They found her. What happened? What?" I looked down at the bracelet on my wrist, at the 5 small letters catching the light, and at last I understood what I had done. She had been down there the whole time, alive, waiting at the bottom of the world for someone to dig her out. And I had come all this way, wearing her face, and lit the match.